Lora?
I'm thinking about getting a cut today. Do you know what kind of haircut you want to do?
Sorry.
Do you want to just leave it up
I
to
have
me
something
today?
else on. Hang on.
Does your spouse think that you're getting a haircut today? Yeah, she saw your Instagram and she was like, "This is who you need to go do." But he's
Are you getting a haircut today?
Wait a minute. Okay, here I am. Hello.
Hey, how are you? I'm just looking at something here.
How are you? Wait, can I hear
I'm
you?
good, thanks. Yeah, can you hear
There
me?
you are.
Yeah.
Good.
Just gonna move something over here.
I woke up really late this morning, so I'm still kind
What
of
time
tired.
is, what time of it, what
And I
time is
have
it
a
where
bad
you are
habit of
now?
not looking in the mirror, so I don't know what I look like.
I'm still eating my breakfast.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It's
My
actually
breakfast is here too.
It's actually 11:30 here.
Hopefully Paula will be here.
Yeah, she said something about doctor's appointment.
Yeah, she had another meeting of some sort.
I think she said, yeah, I think she said it was
Me
a doctor's
taking a
appointment.
bite too.
Yeah, let's eat while we can.
Sorry?
Let's eat while we can. Oh, I'm looking around for my breast. So, hi, buddy. Want to see Laura? Here. Here. Here.
Oh, hello, Paula. Your hair actually looks really pretty today with it off of your face like that.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's about 2 weeks too long. So
Oh,
that's,
it's cute. It's cute.
I like it.
Maybe,
no, I mean,
yeah,
I,
maybe.
I like it at the moment, but by the end of the day, it will be, something
Yeah.
very different. So
Yeah.
No, that's
All
not
right.
you.
When I
No.
finish when I finish
Laura and
chewing,
I are eating
hopefully
our
I will get
breakfast.
started.
I just had a quick bite of something myself. So
All right. And a sip of water to clean my palate.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi. Thank you very much for coming. So, I am so, I don't know that flustered is the right word, but it's the word I can think of at the moment. That I did not actually plan for this meeting. So I'm winging it. So I have no team. Barbara is gone. Patrice is gone. Anne-Marie lives in Europe and is really busy with all kinds of things anyway. She has a lot on her plate. She's a woman who likes to be busy. And Paula is overwhelmed. And
Laura, when you say they're gone, Barbara's still a evaluator?
no, that just happened, and I told her to tell you, and evidently she didn't. So
Okay.
Barbara's out 100%. Barbara has had a lot on her plate this year. She got a divorce, she moved. She's famished. And Patrice has said that other than being a mentor, she is out. And I haven't actually talked to Anne-Marie because, I work in my own head a lot. And, she's a mother and she teaches actual school and she's got her art clay thing going and she's on a couple of other teams. And I just, whether it's right or not, I kind of don't trust her to be in fully. So I am counting her out of the equation for whether it's good or bad, whatever.
That's
Um,
Patrice or Anne Marie.
Sorry, that's Anne Marie. Patrice
Okay.
is just out.
She's not
Um,
doing any
other
mentoring
than
either.
mentoring.
Okay.
No, I think she still wants to be a mentor, but she doesn't want to have anything at all to do with any kind of day-to-day anything. So I am overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed and I don't mind crying because it's something that I do. I hate it when my voice goes up 12 octaves. Anyway, I'm overwhelmed in my life, and that's spilling over into everything else. And I am basically going through something that I have always done, which is when the tough gets going, I want to get going. I just want to quit. And I have actually had the feelings that I just want to quit. AmCom, Metal Clay, everything, Facebook, the whole 9 yards. And I have been, oh my God, my cat has gotten herself into a tie. I have to go get her for 1 second. Okay. Um, I have actually been advised by a couple of people who are not familiar with AMCAR, the whole deal, that I should just quit. You're overwhelmed, quit. Stop doing it. And I do feel that way, but I also don't want to quit, so I'm very conflicted. And I am worried about trying to continue to fight for this program being presented the way I want it to be presented, and also, doing whatever it is that it takes to make sure that is done, or make sure that I am at least following my own agenda. So in things like flyers, so it's easy to say flyers. Somebody has to write the text. Somebody has to do the graphics. Somebody has to find out how it's going to be printed. Somebody has to find out how it's going to be disseminated, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot more to flyers than just saying, I think we need flyers, right? And I know I can't do that all on my own. It has, I'm actually going to be talking to somebody to see if maybe I have ADHD or ADD or whatever. I get really afraid at situations that I'm not familiar with, and so I want to stop. I don't want to do it. Whether that's, going on vacation by myself or taking myself out to lunch or, whatever. And so just the thought of me having to figure out, let's say, just the printing process is scary. I'm incredibly grateful to Paula for doing the very vast majority of keeping an eye on things like certificates and things that have multiple processes that you have to go through. And you know, it's part of your um, you know, business background and just getting things done. And it's also within your personality. You feel comfortable with it. And I just don't. In a myriad of a myriad of times throughout my life, you know, I can definitely think of many instances where the going got hard and I just stopped. I have to get a Kleenex. Oh. And
Laura, can I just say at this point that while I understand you feel that, you know, when presented with some new thing, you want to back away from it. Look how far we've come with advanced studies. Look what you have created, right?
I haven't had, thank you very much. I agree. And I personally haven't had to do any footwork other than sitting in front of my computer. I haven't had to call and or you know, where are we going to get the wax? Where are we going to get the stamp? Where are we going to get the ribbon? Who's going to put it on? I haven't had to do any of that. I just come up with ideas. I am great at coming up with ideas. Um, you know, I never did anything, Pam doesn't know about this. I never did anything about my almanac that I looked at that I wanted to get out prior to 2022 Center, because when I figured out that Canva wouldn't print as many pages as I wanted there to be, I stopped. I didn't look into something else. I didn't figure out if it could be done on Staples. I didn't figure out another way to get it done. I just stopped. Um, and at this point, I still really like the idea, and I'm thinking of, you know, trying to figure out a way that AMCA can present some kind of a download, um, which we can talk about later because Pam has no idea what I'm talking about. Um, you know, so I haven't had to do any of the practical things. When I stopped singing, I auditioned for two bands. Neither one of them wanted me because I was mostly familiar with jazz. And so it's like, oh, okay, never mind. Which, you know, it's like, and there are things in my personality. It's like, I could not have been, you know, a singer. Um, but anyway, so this is all mostly about I have no team. I cannot do it all by myself. The
Laura,
supporting teams.
let's take the example of the flyers though, right?
Okay.
You don't have to figure that stuff out, right? Marcom has a process by which they work with a team lead to design the flyer, to print the flyer, and to distribute the flyer.
So Marcom actually figures out the printing and the whole everything.
Yes, yes,
No, but not the content. Like
but
you
not the
draft
content.
you draft all you have to do is draft the content and then they put their fairy dust on it. But that's really very like a very specific task, and I think we're talking about a bigger issue here. So I think the concern is right now, Laura, correct me if I'm wrong, Laura, this is my take on it. Because you have no other team members, you're feeling overwhelmed. And and you only can work in your own head. You can't even bounce anything off of anybody because there's no team. So I think my question is, what is it that you need from us? Do you want us a couple questions. Do you want to stay on with AMCAW? And if you do,
Well,
is the
I also,
let me
I'm
just finish
sorry,
my
okay.
sentence. Yeah, and is the resolution like finding one or two other individuals who will work with you on M&M? And, and if that's the way we're going, then we'd also need you to think about what it is you need them to do. So, I mean, that's one solution. Is the other, I also hear you saying you're kind of feeling like stopping and stepping down, and you're conflicted about that. But if that is the decision that you make in the end, because it's going to be your decision, like Laura, wherever you go here, if that is your decision, then what we need to do is we still need to find somebody that you can mentor and teach about the program, that they could pick up, the work that you do today. So, but you have to kind of help us understand what it is we need to do to help you.
All right, so what I have noticed in the past 3 years working with my team, and it's absolutely a possibility that I railroaded it because I'm a control freak. Um, but I don't feel any of my team members have been proactive. Um, I would ask them to please read this, that, or the other thing and give me their ideas, especially when the website was still in the testing phase. Nobody did it. I drove myself a little crazy with the marketing meeting we just had a month ago, putting everything I could down on paper because I do better writing things down than I do speaking off the top of my head. And nobody read any of it except maybe Paula because she reads everything.
I guess the other question I would have though, Laura, is we came out of that marketing meeting and we talked about putting together kind of a survey, right? That we were going to test on volunteers, and we kind of went away with that meeting. From that meeting, I thought you were going to try to put together some ideas about what
I started working on it and I got halfway finished with it, and then I got overwhelmed with my own life and I stopped. So
Okay.
that is actually in process and probably would not take that much longer
So,
to finish.
so the survey was going to help us determine next steps, right?
Okay. Okay.
What else? What else do you think?
So anyway, what I was starting to say is I would love for some people who are proactive self-starters and are interested in promoting this, whatever it means, um, to be on a team. One of the things I noticed at the beginning of inviting evaluators, I can't remember anymore exactly what it was, but oh my God, Amazon is like on it. She was, I can't remember what she did, but she was a self-starter. She gave lots of ideas. She was putting forth, a lot of comments and things like that to me. Um, I don't know, maybe it's still in pings. I'll have to go back and look. Um,
I just want to
but
throw
it's
something in here,
just that I
Laura.
would like someone who is more of a self-starter.
We all, as I think if you talk to all the team leaders, you're going to hear the same story. Because we work with volunteers, we get all kinds of different levels of
I understand that.
commitment from the volunteers. Yeah, all of us want self-starters. All of us want people that will respond. We all want them to read. We
Yeah.
all have the same, right now you don't have anybody, but we all have the same issues. We might have one person on our team that's really good and everybody else is not doing as much. It's been my experience that the team leaders in every single team take the weight of the work that's done by that team. They take 80% of the work that's done by that team. MCL, I watched Wendy Ernst, and she had a team of 6 or 7 really, board of director type people, but she still carried the weight you know, the weight of that team.
Right.
I mean, we all do that. So I just don't want you to think you're alone in the boat, that's all. Right? And trying to find the kind of volunteers that you're looking for. And we don't pay people, you know, it's
No,
hard.
I understand all of that. I understand. I'm thinking back to education. So, you know, I understand that way back when the volunteers we got were the volunteers we got, and they didn't necessarily have writing experience or this or that or the other thing, and there
Yeah.
were language issues and blah, blah, blah. And I think probably when we got past my agenda of putting out all the very, very beginning things, and I was leaving to do mastery modules, I really had to talk Brandy into taking over. We had a few discussions about it because she has the magazine and, you know, she didn't know that she would be able to put the time in for it. And I think probably education has gotten much further than if I had kept leading it. And I think that the people, although I don't know, but it feels like the people that are now on the education team, other than Brandy, are doing the work. You know, that's the way it feels to me. Um, So, yeah, I mean, you're asking me what I need. I need people on my team, or at least one person. I thought Barbara was going to be it, but um, she is not of the mindset and other things I won't go into. Um, and I think I would be able to do it if I had one person who not only knew metal clay, liked the program, but also had a bit of a business background to help support me.
We'll
And
throw a
Laura,
little,
wait,
we'll
Laura,
let
throw,
me know. I can't remember exactly what it is, but like things like when Wendy wanted to talk to me about the budget. I don't know. I have no idea. I think of things as I think of them. Flyers never entered my mind, you know?
that's
I
why you were
can't
working
think
with
of a
Wendy,
single
because
thing that we would need money for. And then when I think of it, it's like, oh yeah, we're going to need money for this. But I can't do a budget because those things don't come into my head.
okay, Laura, again, couple of things. One, I offered to sit in on that meeting with you and Wendy, and I got no response.
I don't know that I saw it, or maybe I just
Okay.
forgot about it.
So,
Okay,
so
thank you.
while you don't think you have a team, I'm still very heavily invested in this program. Okay. And from those kinds of perspectives of navigating how we get things done at AMCA, I should be your go-to person, right? Just like with flyers, I can tell you exactly how we get flyers done. Okay. When it comes to the budget, I put it together the last couple of years.
I know.
Why I wasn't invited to that meeting, I said, okay, well, I'm not going to push it. I offered, I'm not going to push it. Okay. But the other thing is even if we are to go out and recruit someone for you, I need to better understand, what do you think the team needs to accomplish at this point? Because I thought we had a plan. We said, let's put a survey together. Let's find out why people aren't participating, right? Because we can make all the flyers in the world we want, but if we're not addressing the core issue, the flyers aren't a good use of our time and our money. Does that make sense? I mean, I know there are things that we could do. We could improve the website a little bit. We could, I don't
Yeah,
know.
you know, it's thank you. You and I have also had conversations where it's like you would like to not be involved with mastery modules. You've got a lot on your plate, and I definitely might be, you know, it's part of my makeup. Um, that I feel guilt asking people to do things, anything, because, it's like we've all got something. I can, I have it in my head. I can no longer count on my cousin Pat to do almost anything. And she's 77 and she's got her own things, but I asked her to pick me up from the hospital when I had my DNC, and she couldn't do it. And it was in the afternoon. She didn't have to worry about traffic, blah 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 blah. There were a whole bunch of reasons why I thought she could do it, and she wanted to do it, but she's not able. So, I have very few people in my life. God bless her. Amy came, 25 minutes. And then the hospital I was out was 25 minutes from me. So Amy did it, and was lovely about it. But, she lives 25 minutes away. I don't like to ask her things.
Well,
We have, but we have processes set up in AMCA. We have support teams, Laura, right? We have support teams. Marketing and communications is a support team, web and tech. We just have to make sure we get on their schedules, right? So they're aware of work that we're doing. So their expectation is that they support teams in the work that they're doing. So it's not a concern asking them. It is a concern making sure that they know in advance when you need things so they can build it into their schedule. But I mean, that's part of how this organization works.
I
I think it's
also,
going to be difficult for you to separate your personal life and, and the difficulties that you're having there to,
I
to
also
the
have
AMCA piece.
expectations that the ask will get done. And it's like, no, they've got other things to do.
You have to get on their
this
schedule.
isn't going to get solved in a month. It's not. And I want it to get solved in a month. So,
well, I
I
guess the
definitely
other
have
thing,
to deal with my own expectations.
right, Laura, within AMCOD, to me, there is a difference between you asking me for, how do we get flyers to produce? Can you advise me on the best, the approach versus can you go make these flyers happen? Right? Those
Yeah,
are two different things in my mind, right?
right.
Yeah.
So saying, put some content together, think about where and why we, what is our target for those flyers? And then here's how we would produce them is different than you saying, Paula, I need flyers made for AMCOG, go make it happen. Those are very different things. And actually that would be the same thing would be happen as if you said to Marcom, go make flyers happen for me, right? It's a shared process, and it's asking the question about how is different than assigning the work to someone else. Okay. I also feel your frustration, whether it's with AMCA or whether it's with my own performance at AMCA. I like things to happen very quickly. My to-do list is now 10 pages long.
I
Okay.
believe you.
And those are things that have value to be done at AMCA. They're not just things I've thought of that could be done. They're things that are of value. And I am very frustrated with my own ability to get those things done. And every day, right, there's some new issue that pops up that distracts me from that to-do list. And in some cases, we are all struggling with what's going on in our personal lives, right? The care of my mother and my mother-in-law is increasing substantially, right?
Yep.
So I also understand, and I think Pam can see that the frustration with one of those things definitely spills over into either AMCA or AMCA frustration spills over into our personal lives. You are
Yep.
not alone in this arena.
No, that's what I mean, though. I know that we all have our own shit, and I feel guilty asking people to go over and beyond because you've got your own shit to deal with.
But is it part of it, like when you're asking people, is part of the disconnect that, like, flyers are a great example. are you able to produce content? You know, are you able, you're a writer, are you able to, you know, like, I'm just. And then we go to marketing and they, you know, they print it and they do the graphics, but you know, we do the text. Is it lack of understanding of processes?
It's partly lack of understanding. It's the fear. It's something in my makeup that makes me think I should know everything. I started out in 2000 just, you know, playing around with metal clay, and then I had so many pieces I decided, oh, well, you should sell them. And then at a farmer's market that I used to do all of the time, somebody suggested, oh, you should teach at San Gabriel Bead Company, which I didn't do for months because I'm not a teacher. I don't know that stuff. And so finally I was like, all right, fine. And I went in and had a meeting with the owner, and she hired me, and I told her I've never taught before, blah, blah, blah. But I was the teacher, so I thought I needed to know everything. You know, I needed to give that presentation. And that has gone on and on and on. Everything that I do publicly, I lately I'm only commenting on things that I really, really honest to God know about. But in the past, I would put my experience, and then somebody who had another experience or knew better would put in the truth, and I would feel embarrassed. So I stopped answering a lot of things on Facebook. So it it definitely has to do about with my thinking that I'm a fraud, which I realize is universal. You know, I know people from all walks of life have that. Um, and not knowing what I'm doing, and
But you do know
partly
what
being
you're doing.
embarrassed and having to ask, because you know I've been doing this for 25 years, and partly the guilt of asking people to do things when I know they're already overwhelmed. And, you know, my ability to shut down. I've just spent 2 weeks on the couch. I haven't done my taxes. I just got a letter from the California Franchise Tax Board, which is my retirement fund is California, so I still pay California taxes, that I am past due. They found me, you know, so it's like, and I still haven't done anything about it. And,
Laura, do
you
you
know,
see
it's just,
anybody that
I'm
you, a
shutting down.
professional
I just am
person,
shutting
Laura?
down.
Yeah, do you have somebody, like, do you have a personal
I
professional? You need to
do.
see
I'm on
somebody.
antidepressants, and I have a therapist I talk to, and I have a an appointment with a neuropsychologist who has, you know, it's regarding the MS, and my um, therapist is going to ask if when we have our talk, if he could also, you know, maybe assess me for ADHD, and there are drugs for that, and blah 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 blah. So yeah, I am taking care of it, but I have the ability to, you know, it's like I have the ability to walk over that sock on the floor for months and months and months because bending down and picking up the sock is too much work. I have that ability. So, you know, it's just, you know, even when right now, you know, I don't have a kitchen. So I've been doing dishes in my bathroom vanity. And I haven't done the dishes in over a week and a half. And when you only have a bathroom vanity, they're piled up. Um, you know, so it takes me a while, even when I tell myself it will take you 15 minutes, go in and do the dishes. And I know it will take 15 minutes because I've done this before. Um, but there's still something in my head that, I would rather sit on the couch. So
Sounds to me like you really need to
and
talk
with
to
the
your,
MS, my brain isn't working the same and blah, 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 blah. So
yeah.
I feel really insecure about my own abilities and, just all the things of getting older and, not being able to take care of myself. I've taken care of myself since I was 18 and not having any support and, all of that kind of in my personal life. So it's just I'm feeling like life is a lot right now. So,
You
but
really
getting
need to work
back
with you really need to
less
work with your
survival,
medical, Laura, you really need to work with your
I
medical
am.
people.
I
Because
am.
I just,
There's nothing else I can do. I'm
I,
doing everything that
yeah,
I can do.
just let me see, Paul and I can't, like, some of these issues that you have, we can't help you, we can't help you with that. We can't help you make some of the decisions you need to make. You really
No,
need,
I understand that.
I'm afraid to advise you at all, even around AMCA, only because you have a lot going on with yourself, right? I mean, generally, if I have somebody, I'm going to say, how can we support you? Like, what is it we can do from an AMCA perspective to assist you? But this is bigger than a bread box.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's outside of our skill level. We can't advise. We have to be super careful of anything that we say here, because you've got a lot going on in your life that's beyond
No,
our
I
skill
am giving
level.
you background so that you
I,
understand why I'm having issues with AMCA and
uh,
past
like,
remote. I don't
yes.
expect you to even comment on anything that's going on in my life, you know.
Well, you're saying
I
things to us, so of course we're gonna, we can't not say it. You're telling us many things and we can't not say, like, you haven't spoken to us. We have to acknowledge what you're saying to us. So all that I can do and all that Paul and I can do is ask you if you want to stay on with AMCA, and if you do, what it is that you need from the organization to assist you. That's the only thing we're able to do. Right, and we're happy to do that, but we need a sense from you what you think that is and your capability level. Do you want to continue on? Do you want to try? Right, we can't make those decisions for you.
no, I absolutely understand that. Um, I guess I'm also partly reacting to the fact that, or the occurrence of, when I came up with a list, we could do this, we could do this, we could give away free this to this person and that person and the other person. It's like I got the feedback, well, we can't do all that. I wasn't expecting anyone
Right.
to do all that. They were choices, so part of it is my own reaction to your reactions. And I
Mhm.
understand that. Um, so
And Laura, we've talked about the fact that you feel that I sometimes just say no to you with whatever you propose. And I apologize if it comes off that way. Usually what I'm trying to figure out is how could we do that? Right? So if you give me an option that says something like, could we discount the program? Okay, then walk through that with me. Let's look at the financial part of that. And I know
that is, yeah.
that's not your strong suit, but I do expect if you propose something like giving people discounts, that you at least help us figure out what would be the impact, right? Now, again, after that meeting, I thought we were going to try to gather some more data to understand where our efforts would be best focused. right? So in your head now, you've got all these ideas that we could do. There's
That's
still,
part of the
there's still,
potential
I know,
ADHD,
but they're still unfocused, right?
right?
So the plan to help focus them has been abandoned.
I was going to talk to you. Cindy Pope has put me on the agenda for their October meeting regarding I can't even think
Grants.
what it's
Grants.
called right
Grants.
now, but that the grant,
Grants.
thank you. So I was going to ask Paula to talk to me about that and probably come to that meeting as well if she can.
So I think Paula there, because I'm part of the
yeah,
grant, I'm
but
part of the grant committee also, right? Was that maybe, one of the grants that if we do it, and it was too late to do it this year because we've launched already, but for 2026, one of the grants could be an education grant where they're applying for and receive a master module grant. Now, what level of master module would that be? All to be decided, but that's the proposal that was
But
going to
again,
the grant
that's an
committee.
idea that Paula had. So
but again,
yeah.
we don't know that that's what's keeping people from
I
doing it.
understand. I understand. And I think in particular with you, what I'm responding to is an automatic no, because I have that in my history, in my personal history. So when I hear the first word being no, it's like everything else stops. If the first words were, well, let's talk about it and see if that's practical, because I think I have also said at some stages, I don't know that this is practical, but I would like to do XYZ, and I hear no. I don't hear, okay, let's talk about the reality of making that happen.
Well, I will
I
certainly
think we
accept.
I think we kind of got there in that last meeting though, because you did provide a lot of information. I know you accused us of not reading it, but I think a number of us actually read it.
I
But you had
asked how many people have read it, nobody raised their hand.
you had a lot of suggestions in there, right? Some may be doable, some may not be doable. Like discounting, maybe we can discount at this price and not that price. I think we had a lot of really great conversation in there. I thought we had a lot of great conversation about maybe why this program doesn't sell as well as like a beginner entry level type of program would sell. We're more at the master level here, so we're not going to have probably the same number of people. Let's go and ask some questions. I don't think but I do, I mean, because you have so many suggestions, Laura, sometimes there's going to be no's, and sometimes there's going to be no's if there's big resource pulls on us, or, it's a great idea, we can't get it done this year. That happens to every single team at AMCA. Like, they're all running into the same resource issues. That's really, it's resource and finance issues. We have that across the entire organization. You feel singled out, but you're not.
I don't feel singled out. It's just I just want you to understand why sometimes I react the way I react instead of saying, don't react that way. It's like I can't help the way I react. And a lot of the way I react is absolutely historical. And I get that. And I am now starting to think that a lot of my behaviors are ADHD, blah, blah, blah. And I don't like making those kinds of excuses. So I kind of don't want to really find out about it.
Laura,
Because
all I
it's
can say is
another
that,
excuse. But
Laura,
anyway,
wait,
we'll get back to mastery modules. What, Paula?
let me just say, right, all of us are triggered by things that have happened to us historically. Okay? When I encounter someone who has great ideas but but doesn't seem to want to think through them with me, doesn't want to seem to commit to making them happen with me, right? That's a trigger for me. All right? So in some ways, this combination, right, maybe is elevated because both of our histories have collided. But I don't know how to, I don't know how to move this forward without doing a plan, right? I don't know how to go find additional people to help us, you, without knowing a plan. So again, you hear no whenever I ask a question about one of your ideas, whether I've said no or not, you hear no. Okay, and without a plan, I don't know how to move forward. So
Okay.
that's a trigger for me.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm willing to help work on a plan with you. You know, you and I have worked well together, even though we've clashed many times. You and I have worked well together.
I
We
agree.
do have a successful history of helping each other figure it out. So, you know, at this point in time, I think Pam's right. We're here to help support you in the context of AMCA, of figuring out how to get a person or how to get next steps or you know, whatever the case may be. But you have to do the other work. We can't, as much as I want to help fix your life for you, okay, because that's also part of who I am. I'm a fixer.
Yeah.
I can't do that for you.
Right. No, I know.
So really it comes down to thinking about taking those great ideas that you've had, right? And how do we zero on the ones that are going to work? How do we get the information that we need? And then also I think, as Pam said, you have to decide, you know, do you want to continue to put yourself through this pain, if because obviously it's painful for you. You know,
Well, yeah.
personally, I personally I don't necessarily want to see you do that, but at the same time, you know,
As with many decisions in life that we all have, you know, half of me wants this and half of me wants that. And, you know, depending on the day, and I'm sure this is exactly the way you guys deal with things too. On Tuesday, I want to quit and have nothing to do with anyone. And on Wednesday, I want to figure it out. You know, so I think that, you know, I definitely want to continue, or we wouldn't be having this discussion. I just would have said, I'm out. You know, and that's not the option that I'm going with. Um, I
So
guess
then I think we know the
mostly
way
what I'm
forward.
feeling is the fact that I no longer have a team. I feel slightly betrayed by that. Um,
Okay,
I thought of other things
I
I
just want to
really
talk
wanted
about
to say,
team
and
for a
then they
second,
went
if I
away.
talk about team for a second, so I can. So number one, I mean, your team, when Master Marjorie's launched, I think that was a bit of a retirement for some of them because it's built and launched and now we're in administration. But I get that one person watching and trying to market and, you know, take care of the program's not enough. I met some people when I was in MCAS, 3 or 4 people that I'm going to, this week, going to reach out to them and do a Zoom meeting. There's one gal, I don't know her, Laura, but there's one gal that I'm really interested in. She's, to me, she feels like a young person because she's probably in her 30s. And she is now working full-time with metal clay. I don't know her. You know, I mean, I'll know more about her. I'm going to have a meeting, but I'm going to have a meeting with 2 or 3 of them at the same time. But I'm really interested in her. She might be, how many people, like, I think is 2 the right number? Because you're in administration and marketing and, you know, just little changes here and there to the program. Is 2 people, like one additional person enough for you to work with and bounce ideas off of and but be collaborative with? You know, because if I'm bringing somebody new in that has a lot of desire, you know, it has to not be just a top down, I'm telling you what to do. It's going to have to be a collaborative partnership with somebody that comes in, right? Because this gal might work in a lot of places, so I'm taking somebody that I think might be significant for the organization, might be, and saying, I could maybe give her to you, but you need to bring her along so that, you know, she stays interested in AMCO, that maybe she wants to take a leadership role in AMCO as time goes on, that kind of stuff. Is one person enough, Laura, do you think, or is that a good start?
I think one person who will do all the things that we've been talking about, or some of the things, who is interested enough. I don't think that as a team now focused entirely on mastery modules, there is a ton of work to be done. I
Right.
think we have fixes and bugs that we
Yeah,
have to get out of the way.
yeah.
And of course, I want them done tomorrow. Um, but if I could have somebody to to bounce ideas off of and that kind of thing, that would be great. It has actually taken a lot of discipline for me not to call Amy because, you know, she's here. And I think I've said this before, poor girl. You know, there have definitely been lunches that were all about mastery modules. Um, and I'm trying not to do that to her. So, you know, it's like I definitely have had some issues keeping friendship and AMCAW in their own little compartments, and I'm trying really hard um, not to do that. So, yeah, if there were somebody that I could talk to about whatever, and I don't even know what it is right now, that would be great. That
And
would
of
be
course, you
great.
still
And if
have
at some
Paula.
point this other person and I, we talk and we realize, oh no, you know what? We need a team. Then, you know, we can move forward and say, no, I need 2 or 3 other people, you know, and we can deal with it that way.
Yeah, it's fair to
So
say now, I think, or at least that Master Modules has launched. You know, the program is, I mean, you guys did a really good job. The program, you know, is up and running. It's a pretty strong program. I understand what you're saying about little quirks here and there that you're learning about and about marketing it, because we would like to have more take the class. But to your point, like there's not a lot of work. We have to do the administration now, right? And
there's
that's
not a
really where we
ton.
are.
And I think partly also what I'm reacting to, which I'm sure other people feel the same way, after putting in 3 years of work on what I think is a really great program, there has not been a lot of interest in it, and that is flat out depressing to me. So
I think that
that's
Wendy
why I
Ernst
am so
upset.
specifically gung ho on changing so many things, changing the language and this and that, and how it's presented and all of that. Um, but as you both have known, my opinion is that we have to get, if we can, we need to get out of Facebook and try and reach a broader audience. And so that's what my idea of um, basically seeking help from instructors, you know, and getting out those flyers. The flyers are for instructors to give their students so that there's more than just Facebook trying to get the message out.
Mm.
So
I think there was a lot of good conversation though, when we had the last meeting about some of our reasoning without, knowing anything for sure, which is why we were gonna do the survey about why enrollment is as it is. I mean, and some of it's because it is a higher end type of education. It's not a entry level. And I thought when Wendy Ernst was talking about it, linking it to like if you're going to university and getting your undergrad, there's thousands of students, and then you go on and you do your next level and there's less. And by the time you're getting to your master's, there's less again, and PhD, less again. And that's part of what this program is. It's more of an elite program than it is an entry level program. So to ever think that there's going to be hundreds of people is probably not a reality that's ever really going to happen. I'm very proud that AMCA has a program like this. I'm very proud that, it's a higher end type program. It's one of the things I talk about when I have students. Most of my students are beginners, but so I mean, it's work well done. It's work well done. And I think the other thing that we talked about at the last meeting was it's only been up and running for a year. We were just meeting about Center. We're saying we're now about to do our third Center, and it's starting to become a household event. People are now starting to have confidence that AMCA is going to continue on, knock on wood, and have these kind of events every year. So the program's new. It's still relatively new, right? We just have our first few people getting to the other end. So got to give it a little bit of time too before we go in and make a gazillion changes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there are things I know in the back of my head that sometimes go out the window. I know them, but I don't consider them. And I have said it, at the last board meeting, I can't remember what we were discussing, but, any new anything takes time to get going. You're starting a craft show and you barely make your booth back because people don't know you. Don't
Yeah,
not go to that show again next year. It takes time. And
does.
I know that. Um, and it's frustrating, you know. So yeah.
I'd have to go
And
back
I
and look
have
at that
nobody to
document.
like bounce that shit off when I walk in the door and we're having coffee and so it just gets built up and built up and built up and built up. And I think that is part of my frustration. Um,
And I think your expectations too, like
so,
when you
it's
started,
partly my personal life and it's partly what is actually going on with the program.
yeah, because I think your expectations in the beginning is that we would have dozens and dozens and dozens of people signing up. So right off that didn't happen. So right off the
That's
bat,
part of the ADHD as well.
You have a disappointment to deal with, right? Because it didn't pan out the way you had envisioned. Not that it didn't pan out okay, but it didn't pan out the way you envisioned it. Yeah. So you have to manage all your own feelings about all those things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, there's stuff I have to work on for sure.
Yeah.
And we got uh the first few people we got immediately after it was announced. We got another few people after my presentation at I can't remember the name of it.
MCL.
Yeah. Um, and depending on who talked about it at AMCAS, maybe we'll have another tiny little flurry. So it's like I am noticing that when we make an effort to get the word out, one or two people say, "Oh, yeah, that sounds cool. I want to do it." So I just
Well,
want to make sure that we put out the word in every way we can in as consistent a way as we can, knowing that there are things like MCAS and Center that are going to take a lot of marketing energy at certain
Laura,
times of the year.
but again, please don't feel like the program's being persecuted. This is true of every program we have. People say they don't know about grants. People say they don't know about the tutorials. People say they don't know about the virtual guild meetings.
Yeah,
You know, to me, if you spend half an hour on the AMCA website, you will discover all sorts of lovely things, but people don't do it. And that is
Yeah.
very frustrating for me,
Can I
right?
talk about Center for a second?
Sure. Well, I mean, you
Sorry.
know, it's like I go to these things and I hear these comments and I'm
Yeah.
like, have you looked at the website lately?
yeah,
God,
Right? Or
they don't read.
they don't read, they don't, you know, and look, I'm guilty too. I couldn't tell you who all has tutorials on our website, but I know they're there, right?
Yeah.
I have to go look up these facts on a regular basis. I can't keep prices in my head anymore. I can't keep the dates in my head anymore, but I know where to go to find them. And most people are too lazy to go find them.
Yeah, they
Okay.
want everything fed to them, yeah.
I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
Laura, so mastery modules, and for example, I would say half the people that I talk to at MCAS will never go do mastery modules because they want it spoon fed to them.
Yeah, they don't want to be, they don't want
Okay.
to self
Now,
self-teach.
the three of us on this phone, on this call, right? We're what Hadar would call intellectually curious. We go look for things because it's of interest to us. We will go down rabbit holes that other people need to be dragged down. Okay. Talk about frustrating. Okay.
That's, yeah, you know,
But you,
I
you
realize
can't,
that,
you can't feel persecuted about this program because it's not just this program. It's not just AMCAW, right?
yeah,
It's, I don't know if it's the state of the world, the social community, the social media that's been created, political, I don't know what the cause is, right? But we're facing this across the board. And and
yeah,
I would say some of your personal reactions to things right now. I mean, I feel those too, right? There are days when I don't even want to go outside because I don't recognize the world anymore.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not bringing in the political landscape because
But
I
I'm
know
just
we
saying,
all feel
right?
that.
We're all struggling with this, and in the context of mastery modules, again, listening to comments about what people believe they know is just you know, I have to
Feeling,
I have to leave the room often. Okay, I just have to leave the room because um even if I were to try to educate some of those people, they're not in a receptive mode.
I think, and we've talked about this before too, you know, the vast majority of people we're going to connect with on Facebook are dilettantes who are doing it because it's fun and they want to learn how to make that thing. And they don't think that about the fact that what they're learning when they make that thing will help them make 40,000 other things, you know? So they're all of a craft hobby mindset. There are very few people on Facebook who want a more professional type thing, which is why I think we need to take it off
But
Facebook. And I understand why it's difficult to take it off Facebook.
but Laura, I'm saying is that at least half the people I met at MCAS were that exact same frame mindset, right? They were here to make this pretty little bauble that Pam taught them. They were here to make this cute little ring that Karen taught them. They weren't thinking about how can I use this mechanism that I just learned in 40 different ways,
Right,
right?
right.
I
Or
also think we're making assumptions when we say that, though. I think we're making assumption. Lori, when you did your presentation at the virtual guild and you had slides up and you showed an amphora and you said it was built on a light bulb. And to Paula's point, I went, that's how she did that, was built on a light bulb? I'm gonna go figure out how to make that on a light bulb. So because of that presentation, which you might have thought I was just sitting there looking at the pretty things, I went away after that and I made that amphora and I've made 10 amphoras. And now I've gone on and made all kinds of different shapes, hollow forms, all because you put that one slide up with a picture of an amphora and a picture of a light bulb. So we don't really know what's going on with the people on Facebook and what they're taking away. We don't really know what's going on in those classrooms when the people comes and Bill makes that one thing. Yes, there are some that just want to make the pretty thing, but there are other people that go, oh, I just learned something and I'm gonna take that in the rest of my life. That's the presentations that we do at Center. We're not teaching, I mean, they're not making a pretty little thing. They're learning a little something that they take away and they put in their whole toolkit, right? Just another something they learn. So I think we have to be real careful about making assumptions. And you talk about taking it off Facebook, but AMCO has made a decision that we're only sticking with, and I can't remember what we said, Paula, because there's so many social media stuff. Oh, if we're talking about social media, okay, there's only so many avenues that we're prepared to work with. Facebook continues to be one of them. Is it Twitter, Paula, or so Instagram?
We use Facebook and Instagram. Those are paired together. So what appears in Facebook appears in Instagram. Again, Laura, once a day I'm like, that's it. I'm done with Facebook. My husband just got kicked off for community standards. He publishes poetry, inspirational quotes, pictures of the bird, and vacations. What could possibly have been against community standard? And the frustrating part there is I can't call anybody. I can't email anybody. We did the appeal process. They said, sorry, we're not interested. He's in Facebook prison forever.
Yeah, awful. I feel bad for him. Sean also did a little work because it was Sean that advised us when we were at some meeting talking about marketing and where we should be, that she had just been somewhere on some course or did something that really said that you shouldn't be on more than 2 social media platforms. Do you remember that conversation, Paula?
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, she said and maybe we even maybe at a Center meeting, I can't remember where that conversation came up. So, I mean, so of course, for me, I look to all of the people that I think are specialists in AMCOS. So anything that Sean tells me about out in the web world, I listen to her infrastructure stuff. I'm listening to Paula, marketing, I rely on those people with expertise, to advise me and the organization. So I don't know about getting off Facebook, but maybe there's something we can do in addition to Facebook, right? In addition to that stuff. Yeah.
So I again, Pam, you're right. We cannot make assumptions about what's really going on with a person. I'm just saying from the comments I heard, that was my conclusion. Which brings me back to, if we had a few simple questions that we could send to the volunteers and say, hey, what do you know about the Mastery Modules program? Is there something that's keeping you from doing the Mastery Modules? And in Pam and I's case, it's time, pure and simple.
Yeah. I really want to do it.
It's not money. It's not lack of interest. It's I don't freaking have time to go. I've made 2 things this year, both in classes. That's it.
It's part of the reason why I don't want to, I want to step down from the president role next year. I still want to do AMCOS stuff. So I have some time to get in my studio and we're losing that. Paul and I are losing our ability to go in and do our artistic stuff because we're so involved in.
Well, and the worst part, Pam, I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm losing some of my skills.
I know, then you start procrastinating. It's like, oh,
right? Like, I'm fine in base metals, but I have trouble working in silver. Now, Katie says I'm overthinking it, but I genuinely have trouble getting joins in silver to work sometimes because it works differently than it does in the base metals I'm used to. Right.
Yep. Yeah.
So
I just had to work with that Project X. It was
right.
Sorry.
I go back to, if we can get a little data about why, then we can take that list of amazing ideas and we can follow them. You know, we can pick a couple and say, okay, well, what would be the monetary impact if we were to offer discounts? What would be the monetary impact if we were to offer grants? What would be the monetary impact of flyers? And with flyers, you always have to think about where are they going, right? Every time we do an AMCOF flyer, marketing always mentions our programs, including mastery modules.
Yeah.
So you've got, you know, that's kind of Marcom's job, is to kind of look out for AMCA in the big picture and make sure that,
Yeah.
yes, Center's on one side, but all about AMCA is on the other side, and all the other things that we offer. And is it a detailed of why you should do that? No, but if you scanned through that and you said, oh, mastery modules, I wonder what that is, at least you've got the tickle, right? You've got the nudge. Again, I don't know how to move mastery modules and advanced studies forward without.
Well, I think that Laura has to pick up the sock. So, so when I'm talking about picking up the sock, Laura, because you talked about walking over your sock, I think you need to go back to that last meeting we had, because there was lots of really great conversation there. You kind of let it slide maybe a little bit, right? About all the good things that came out of there. And, you know, go back to that. Let's get that survey, like we said we were going to do. So that's your task. So you have something to do. You can set your mind on that instead of everything else that's going on in your life. Say, I've got this task to do. I'm going to take this task, enjoy it, do it. You know, put a little survey together based on the conversation that we had. Post it up. Let us all have a look at it, and know that when you post it up, you're going to get feedback, because we're going to have ideas and suggestions, and change this word in another sentence, whatever we're going to say, because that's the way we do business. And then we'll send it out. And we did say we're going to send it out to the volunteers, right? To get their feel for why they're not, you know, and I love the word that Susan Lokai used, because she said the barriers. You know, what are the barriers to people? You know, why haven't they signed up? What are the barriers? So I loved it when she used that terminology. So let's do that, Laura. You carry on, do your thing, get that ready. I'll have my meeting with my possible new, they're only possible new volunteers, because we'll see. So I'm going to have my meeting with them, see if anybody's, you know, interested. I'm going to go through all the teams with them, which is what I always do, get a feel for who they are and what their background is. And then if I can, to the best of my ability, I try and slot people. Now, they may not want to go, you know, they have their own minds, and it has to be a match. So generally what happens just on new volunteers is, like, the volunteer support team does the first, like, little interview. We get a sense of who they are. Then we talk to them about next step is you're going to meet with the team leader. And then the both of you are going to make a decision after that meeting. Team leader's going to say, yeah, I think this person is a match, or they're going to say, no, I don't think. And the volunteer has the same option. Yeah, you know, I met with that team leader. That doesn't really, what they're working on doesn't really interest me. I kind of like the idea of this better. So just because that happens also, you know, so in the end, both of those individuals have an opportunity to say, yeah, I really love this team. I fit here. And so that's how it's going to go, just so you know. So, I mean, I'll have that first meeting. If I get an individual that looks like they're going to work for M&M, I will contact you. You'll set up a Zoom meeting with them. And this is all in the beginning via email, because they're not on Basecamp yet. They don't know anything about Basecamp, right? So you would I will send you their email address. You set up a Zoom meeting with them, and you guys have a discussion, right? And then you both go away, have a moment to think about it, and decide whether it's a fit or not. So that's just so you know the process.
Yeah,
So what
I
do you
will,
think?
I'll commit to rewatching the last marketing meeting and finishing the
Survey?
what it's called, survey that I started.
Yeah.
And I will get back to you guys.
And I will, once you have your kind of your survey formulated, then I can help us either decide, is it going to go, are we going to use like Survey Monkey, which helps us tabulate things, or are they more open-ended questions
yeah.
that we need to um, just look at those responses and say, okay, well, here's a trend we're picking up. Honestly, surveys are easier if they are, pick from this selection why
Yeah.
you do something, why you don't do something. But I would say oftentimes the responses to the open-ended questions are maybe where you see something that helps
I'm
make
gonna
sense of
do a
those.
combination. I think somebody, again, I'll go back and watch, but I think somebody at that marketing meeting said that they thought we needed open-ended questions and actual, like, reasons and answers and,
Right. So,
So, yeah, so, I might say, is it A or is it B? And please explain why.
right. The other thing I would say, Laura, is anytime you think of something that needs to be done for mastery modules, write it down on a list. Okay. So we don't, so because I do this too, right? I write it down so I don't lose track of it. I'm always fearful that I'm going to forget something.
I
Okay.
have lists and lists
I
and
know. I
lists,
have
and I
lists of
don't look at
lists,
the list.
right? But try to write it down and not stress over how do you make that thing happen. Just write it
Right,
down
no,
and
but
then let's talk about how we can make that thing happen if we decide it needs to. Because that's the other thing. Sometimes things that are on my to-do list, they don't really need to happen. Right?
yeah,
I think they do at the moment,
right.
but 2 days from now, I'll go, well, okay, it wasn't useful.
So
Right.
along that line, should I just flat out tell Cindy that I over jumped, wrong word, and take us out of your October agenda, or should you and I have a little talk about it?
Well, I don't think it's bad to talk to Cindy about opening up a grant that would help support education that might include mastery modules.
Okay,
Okay. I don't know if we want a grant that's specific to mastery modules. I don't know. That would be for the grant team to kind of
yeah,
figure out,
all right,
right?
That was the discussion though, Paula, just to throw that into your thinking, right, as we work through this whole bit, because we don't have the answer yet. But that was the kind of the approach, from M&M to the grants, like, is there a way that we could do a grant? And now what level that we want to do it, what cost level do we want to do it? And that way too, there's more advertising and marketing for the Master Modules project because we've got a grant, that's out there that you can apply for, making it seem more esteemed, and all that. So, it's part of the marketing plan. So it's like, it's all, so when you build your financial plan, Laura, for 2026, and if we're going to do that grant, and this is the right time to add it to your market, to your financial plan, we're going to give away through the grant program one, well, however many you decide, but say one membership to M&M. And then you're also going to have to say, what level are we talking about doing that? Is that I don't know the dollar amounts, but one is $500. So I'm just saying that $500. And actually, just on the $500 amount, that is the amount that the grant team generally, is giving. So yeah, so if you wanted to, I mean, you guys, it has to go in your financial plan, but this is the right time. So if you haven't
okay.
done that already with Wendy, send her a ping and tell her tentatively right now you would like her to add $500 to your financial plan that you're, right
To
now.
Mastery Modules financial plan?
Yes, it has to go in
So
your financial
in
plan.
effect, Mastery Modules is paying for the grant?
On paper, it looks like that, but
Yeah,
it
on
comes out of
paper.
AMCO's coffers. Yeah, you don't
Right.
have any money. Well, okay, you do have some money, but
Yes,
okay,
you
well,
do. You
not
have
enough to
send
cover.
me on a really nice vacation.
Mm-mm. Hey, if I have been to Tahiti yet, nobody's going on vacation.
Yeah, it may be an expense to the organization because there's not enough revenue stream and master modules to cover that off right now.
I
But
say we
the
let
whole
Wendy and finance figure out where the money,
how it
what the
gets
money
there.
trail is, but by putting it
Yeah.
in your budget, then it's on the radar. right?
Yeah,
I mean, quite honestly, grants doesn't generate any money. So
they don't.
all of their spending is supported by other AMCOS income,
Yeah,
right? But, and this would be the first time where we would have a grant specific to well, no, because we do Cincher and MCL, and those are in the Cincher and MCL budget. So you're right.
yeah,
It does
yeah.
need to be something that needs to be in mastery modules budget where we work in concentration with the grant team, just like Cincher and just like MCL does to provide
Yeah,
tickets to
yeah.
those events.
And so a lot of teams, Laura, just to help around the thinking, a lot of teams have no revenue stream at all, but they have expenses to the organization. So even though they don't have a revenue stream, they still have to do a little budget up, right? So volunteer support team's a great team to talk about that because they have no revenue stream, but they have a few expenses, right? And so we do the expense plan. It comes in, and all those expense plans roll up into AMCA, and it comes out of AMCA's revenue streams. But so send her a ping, do that as soon as we hang up now, because she's working on those things now. She'll start really building in September and October, the whole holistic AMCA financial plan. You're gonna want that in. Just send her a little ping. That's all you have to do.
I didn't realize that if the grant team set up a grant specifically for mastery modules, that it would come out of the mastery modules budget. So before I say I want to do the grant, I would like to discuss all of my ideas. The grant, giving a free module to the volunteers, giving like which one would be better? Because if we only have one $500 to give away, do we want it on the grant, or would it be more beneficial to offer a volunteer one free module, because then that will help populate the gallery?
I would put it in grants because the volunteer can apply for that grant. But if we limit it to volunteers, that the optics of that are not good, right?
We're only marketing kind of to volunteers, where with the grant team, we're marketing to AMCA's membership. And we're actually marketing to the outside world too, but to win that, you end up having to be an AMCA member, right? So you might see that out in the world, go, I'm not an AMCA member, but I'd really like to get that. I'm going to join AMCA, and then I'm going to apply for that.
And I think that's a fairer way to do it, because again, if you look at all the volunteers, some of us work 40 hours a week and some of us work 1 hour a month.
Yeah.
Who is more deserving?
Right.
Right. But the grant team, they have a whole process, right? They accept applications. You have to fill out the questions. They have a team that evaluates those questions, and then they select winners. So to me, it's a more consistent process that, again, a volunteer could certainly win it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
A volunteer could certainly be given it, right? And maybe
I had thought of it as like more of a thank you to the volunteers.
How would you select somebody to do that?
We're having this whatever it is contest, and one of you will be able to win, a free module. So it was kind of like a gift to the volunteers for doing all the hard work they do.
And I mean, it's another idea. It would have to be worked out, because like, how does that whole process work? How do they get their names in? Who gets their names in? How does it select all that stuff? Not to say that all can't get sorted out, but there's all those, like you were saying earlier, always there's this, just who's going to tie the red ribbon on the box, right? So there's all that, who's buying the ribbon, who's getting the box, it's all the stuff, right, Laura? But Paula, I don't know enough about Laura's.
And my idea for the
budget.
volunteers wasn't necessarily that it would be free, but it would be a lower cost. So as many volunteers as, in my brain, as many volunteers as wanted to take advantage of that could take advantage of that. And as for the optics of it, you know, how is the general public going to know who's a volunteer and who's not a volunteer?
Okay,
So
I'm going back
anyway,
to your, I'm going back to
it's a
your
different
discount. So
discussion.
we only make $50 off. We only make $50 per student. Is that correct? Paula, am I correct in my understanding of the revenue stream?
Around, I don't
It's
think we're
somewhere in
making
there.
very much money at all.
I mean, if I was billing time at this point, we wouldn't be making any money.
Yeah, get it. I get, well, same with all the volunteer, anything we do, if we were billing
Right.
time, right? We wouldn't be
Right.
making money. So you just have to be thinking about that. So then does that end up, so we're saying the grant is a cost to us. So we're saying that's a known cost. If you put that in your budget, it's
Okay.
$500, right? But if you do a discount, and even if we said the discount is 10%, which is about $50 on 500, right? What we don't know is, will we have one person ask for that or 20, and do we care? Do we care if it's net even cost, you know, so it hadn't cost us anything? Do we care about, that's a fundamental
Well, and
conversation.
that's what I was gonna say, is just because if you put a budget together and it comes up negative, right, that doesn't mean we won't.
Say yes.
Right, because like, for example, education has no revenue stream.
Right.
Okay.
Volunteer support,
I mean,
we spend money.
web tech does not have a direct revenue stream, and they're probably the biggest consumer of funds.
Yeah.
Right. So you don't have to necessarily make something balance. Right. It's important that what we're trying to do is to say, we think, and this is a guess too, right? We don't know how many signups we're going to have, but we have to put some kind of guess in there. Right.
Yeah.
When it comes to spending money, however, though, that's something where we need to get as close to possible so that the overall budget, right, will make sense.
All right.
And your budget has to balance, but that doesn't mean there's a revenue, like a revenue and expense balancing. It's just that I've created this budget, and then my budget is, I'm pretending it's $1,000, and I can't spend more than that. So that's how I balance my budget. But yeah, it's not
Well,
off
all I'm
against the
saying is that
revenue
in
stream.
AMCA land, you could have a negative budget because some
Yeah,
teams don't even have a revenue stream. Right?
Correct.
They're all
Absolutely.
expense. So the fact that mastery modules actually does have some revenue coming in helps us offset anything that we spend.
Yeah.
And we don't want to put anything in there. Like, I wouldn't give away 5 grants next year, right?
No.
I give away 1 because that's, first of all, we'll know whether or not it's, I mean, the grants people have the same problem, right? They have this money that they're offering, and the first couple of years, they haven't gotten many applications.
And the other interesting thing about that is because you have to be an AMCOM member. So when we're going out with our offer on grants, it's to our 800 people community, right? So those grants can't be taken by the outside world. They have to be an AMCOM member. If we do a good marketing job, like I was saying earlier, the outside world may know about the grant, and then somebody may decide to become an AMCOM member so they can apply for the grant. But our pool of who can apply is small, 800 people. So just bear all that in mind
So
as you're
instead of my
contemplating.
thinking about all of my millions and millions of ideas and options, how about we start with the grant and then discuss if it's even a possibility for any of the other suggestions.
Well, again, your survey will help us figure out, are volunteers not doing it because they don't have money, or is it because they don't have time? Those are 2 different problems to solve.
Yeah.
Right? So if they come back and they say, I don't have time, then it wouldn't matter if we gave away 5 free mastery modules to volunteers. If they don't have time to do it, they don't have time to do it.
Right.
But we could change the parameters on the time. That's within our control.
We
right?
could make it a longer program to complete, and actually
that's what we're
everybody who is finishing, Henny has finished and passed, but she took longer than her 9 months.
Yeah.
Eliana is close to finishing, and she took longer than her 9 months.
Yeah.
Right? So we may have to look at that. And the problem is if we extend it to a year, people will want more than a year. It's the way it
I
works.
don't, I think if we're going to discuss this right now, I like 9 months. And then the option of them getting an extension is fine with me, as opposed to giving them 12 months and then they'll need an extension
Right.
or are refusing to give them an extension.
Right. That's what I was saying is that for Pam and I, it's definitely a time in our daily activity where we cannot get to these things. Okay.
Well, for people like you, and maybe we should advertise this, your original idea of getting it all done and then registering for it.
The only issue with that is that we don't, like, if I wanted to get the mentoring component, I can't get that.
Right.
If I'm building them all myself first. But anyways, but you know what? That's all we're stuff talking about. Like, are there other workarounds? Are there other ways we could do that? You know, so there's lots of opportunity to chat about those things.
Right.
So
So
do
even
the
if we
survey.
extended the
do this-
program, even if we extended the program to a year, Pam and I probably still couldn't sign up and do it. I mean, yes, can we do it in piecemeal and then apply? Certainly we could. And could we use that as a marketing option, right? Hey, interested in mastery modules, worried about the time frame, look at it this way, right? But again, we don't know. I mean, for maybe for most of our volunteers, the problem is money. Maybe. We
For
don't
me,
know.
it's always been time. It's always been time. And originally it was 6 months and it was me going 6 months.
Yeah, with me, it's money.
Because you have to, it's not like I'm taking a course and somebody's teaching me. I have to go and learn. I may have to go and take a workshop from somebody to learn something so then I can go and produce whatever it is I need to produce. I need to fit all that in around my world, right? And if I need to take a workshop, where is that workshop and how and what time are they doing that workshop and how do I fit that workshop in? So that's what it looks like to
true
me.
with master's registry, and there were a lot of people who did master's registry, and I don't know what that timeline was. I don't know if we feel like asking Tim what that timeline was.
Well, I was registered.
2008 and 2012, but
I was registered in mastery modules. There was no timeline. You could do them whenever. There was no timeline, right?
Right, but there are people who got their level 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, yes, yeah. Yeah,
within
for sure.
the 4 years that it was running. There are a lot
Yes.
of people.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying
So,
people
you
didn't
know,
do it. I'm just saying they didn't have that
all
hard
of
deadline.
the things that we've talked about are still valid anyway. Okay. All right. We've only
So,
been
Lora-
talking for 2 hours.
Yeah,
Yep,
I have
yep,
another
yep.
call.
Yeah.
Yes, not quite
I
yet.
was just gonna say, again, try not to let yourself get overwhelmed by AMCOS stuff, right?
Yeah.
Write it down, reach out to one of us. I always have at least a moment to respond and say, I can't think about that right now, or there is a way to do that, or let's set up a meeting, right? So don't let AMCOB be that trigger for you. I mean, you also need to think bigger picture for your personal health. What makes sense?
I'm trying to.
I know.
And then I think the approach, so the approach to us. So when you have all those great ideas, it really needs to be this super, this is the way I behave, so maybe it's not true for everybody. I need to be careful when I say this. I like to talk about, I drive people crazy, Paul won't know this, because she's stuck with me too many times. I like to talk stuff through. So, like if I had 6 ideas, I'd like to say, I got 6 ideas. Here's my 6 ideas. I'm not invested in any of them. I want to talk about them all and see if they're reasonable or not reasonable. And I can't be offended when I do that, right? When I put that out there, And sometimes it's hard if you get invested to hear the feedback. You know, it's really hard. So you have to be able to put your stuff out there, not be invested to the extent that your feelings are hurt, right? And that however you put it out there, it's put out in a way that this is a conversation. And let's see where it goes. Because I really think you got a lot of really great stuff the last meeting. And I'm surprised that the sock is I'm going to refer to things as your sock. The sock is in the way because you got so much wonderful feedback from the group. And in the beginning, you had so much, but in the end, I think there was a lot of really great suggestions, ideas, lots of discussions, thoughts. I thought it was thoughtful. So,
Okay.
yeah,
I'll go back and watch it, which I haven't done, and
yeah.
maybe I will remind
Skip the
myself
first
of
10
things.
minutes. Skip the first 10 minutes. And,
Okay.
go to where the conversations, really started happening. And there was lots of good ideas. I think people heard you. We can't do everything that was on your list, but what can we do? Right? And what's reasonable and what do we have the resources and the money and all that stuff?
I was just looking to see if was there a transcript, not a transcript, but a AI summary?
AI probably was, but you
Yeah,
have to be
AI
so careful.
summaries honestly are
You
useless.
have to be careful. They're not totally useless, but yeah, you have to be.
The closed captioning that I've been reading is also useless. I mean, it
Yeah, you
helps.
have to
It's
be.
good for me that there is closed captioning, but an entire, I don't know, 2 or 3 paragraphs of something Pam said wasn't transcribed.
Yeah, you have to be careful. You do
So,
have to be
yeah,
careful.
you have to be
You do have to
careful.
be careful.
All right, so I
So
am
Laura,
going
we
to
have
ask
we have an
Stephanie
inside joke now. We have an inside joke now, which is about your sock. And if we think you're
about my
getting stuck,
sock.
yeah, if we think you're
Yeah,
getting
well,
stuck,
you
we'll
know,
say
when
something
there
about
is
about
a
your
sock on the
sock.
floor, you usually bend down, you pick it up, you put it in the dirty clothes. I can
Yeah.
walk over it for a month.
Yeah. Yeah. Pick up the sock.
So pick up the damn sock. That's all you
Pick
have to
up the
say to me.
sock.
Or pick up the
Yeah, never
sock.
look. Pick up the
Um,
sock.
I'm gonna ask Stephanie to put this in Paula and Laura
Sure.
because I was
you added
crying too
Pam.
much and it's embarrassing,
Yeah,
Well,
no, that's
but I
fine.
don't
Yeah.
want to lose it.
I'm not sure where she put the last marketing
I think she put it in mastery modules, but I'll check on that.
administration, maybe. I don't know
Don't
where.
forget to send Wendy the ping about the $500, okay? Laura?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Write that one down because we want to
I've
get
got
it,
it
we want to
written
get it in
down
your
right
budget.
here on my crossword. So
Oh, God. No.
yeah, I'll transfer it. All right,
Yeah,
ladies,
okay.
thank you very much.
Yep.
I
You're
appreciate it.
welcome.
Talk to you
Okay.
later.
Talk to you later.
See you
Bye.
guys.
Bye.